of teaching at the UC, that's student workers. Top administrators aren't the first point of contact for supporting students. That's student workers. Top administrators aren't struggling to pay their rent under increasing debt and tuition burdens with incomes that don't match cost of living. That's student workers. Shame on you, Janet Napolitano. Shame on you, UCOP, for padding your own pockets and inflating administrative pay and perks while increasing tuition. Spend your time and money working with the state to develop a specific, actionable plan to implement free tuition for all students. And remember that the UC works because we do.
Good morning. I've been here twice before advocating for changing resident policy as it affects students who are under 24. So you all can imagine my dismay when I received an email from my Chancellor, Chancellor Nicholas, telling me that he appreciates my feedback in regards to the policy. Feedback, all of the advocacy efforts that I had been going through simply because my year of waiting to take classes had made me qualified for the residency policy, and actually not talking about anything that can be done in the future. And my residency policy officer on my campus said that it will take the next 2 to 3 years because they do admit that the policy has flaws, but it will take the next 2 to 3 years to fix it. And so I'm wondering what's going to be happening to the next transfer students who are just going to SIR on June 1st, who may find out that they will not be able to take classes in the same way that I would, or they can't afford the tuition. I'm asking, I'm demanding actually, whatever can be done to put a temporary fix in the policy, and be it funds that need to be provided for those students to be able to pay for their tuition, emergency funds, because as we're learning, the UC has money that can be spent on the students. So if an emergency fund needs to be put aside for those students who the policy affects, I'm demanding that that be done and students be prioritized, and that administrations are not as inaccessible as well as been.
Whose university?
Our university!
Whose university?
Our university!
People over profit!
Profit! Hey, Regents! Step profit! Put people over profit! Our university! Our university! Our university! Regents! Step profit! Put people over profit!
Arrest Napolitano! Arrest Napolitano! Arrest Napolitano! Arrest Napolitano! Arrest Napolitano!
This is a public university, and we have to protect that public trust.
Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom said the tone of the audit was too harsh, but that it was long overdue.
This is one of the most opaque institutions I've ever participated in. It is also one of the most extraordinary institutions on planet Earth.
UC President Janet Napolitano has disputed the audit's findings, saying the surplus is actually $38 million.
I'm here because I am a worker at the university. I work in the blood bank over 10 years. I'm involved directly with patient care. And I have seen over the years how the administration of Napolitano and the big UC Regents have cut back the budget significantly, and it's impacted patient care, how we treat our patients. Also, they have outsourced a lot of our workers. So we have workers that make $14 an hour versus career workers. It forces us to train the workers that are being paid less. And it puts a lot of our workers in poverty. Also, I'm here because of our patients. We have a lot of safety patient issues that are happening. We are overworked. We have to train other workers, and the university does not care. They keep cutting the budget. Right now, they want to cut $80 million from the UC hospital system. So in the blood bank, since 2015, we've had 50% of our hospital lab technicians let go and never replaced. And well, I've mentioned it to management. They don't really care. So today I spoke in the Regents because I'm speaking for our patients, for our workers, and for our students.
And I mean, you find it shocking that while you're being cut back and you don't have enough money for regular workers, they have a $175 million slush fund. I mean, where are the priorities? I mean, is that the question you're asking?
Absolutely. I think it's shocking. I think it's shocking that they recently did they ratified with the Teamsters, but they hid the money from Teamsters and they did it under bad faith. And now they offered ASHME members 0% for 5 years, but they're increasing everything else, healthcare, UCRP, pensions, everything's going up, but they have the nerve to give us 0%. Since 2014, the university has made over $650 million. They're asking for the students for a 2.5% rate hike, which gives them another $88 million. So yeah, they're being very dishonest with us. And we, the workers, because we are the workers that we are, this university hospital has been one of the top 10 hospitals for more than 10 years in the whole country.
And they also are trying to put you into a 401k. What is that all about on your pension system?
Well, basically what they're doing is that instead of keeping one universal pension plan, they want to, the people are grandfathered on the 1976 title rule, but anybody after 2013, they're trying to force them into a 401k. The reason for that is so that they can avoid having to be part of giving us distributions, because right now they give us 14%, they contribute to our pension, and they don't want to give us anything.
And the Regents, you have the billionaires, Richard Blum, multimillionaires, there's no labor representative. I mean, do you think these Regents are really concerned about your situation and other workers and students at UC?
I don't think so. I think their lifestyle is so way far up there. They're like on Mount Everest and we're down in the ground level. So no, I don't think they care of us basically, but I think it was important for us to be present here today and for them to listen to the workers, the students, ASHME members, to let them know what is at stake, and that now we know that they're hiding money and they're not playing good faith with us.
Do you think that you have confidence that President Napolitano should stay in that position, that she give her the benefit of the doubt?
No, I don't. I think she's proven that she's not honest, and I think even now that she's been caught, she's never apologized, and she has never. I think she feels bad that she got caught. Bottom line.
I'm Coco. I'm with the UAW 2865 UC Student Workers Union.
So you feel that the Napolitano should resign?
I think so. Before she resigned, the public's trust cannot be restored. We need to restore public trust to the UC, students' trust to the UC, workers' trust to the UC, and it can only start after Napolitano stepped down.
What did you feel when you found out that there was a $175 million slush fund that was hidden from the public and the students?
Just like everybody feels. Everybody feels the same way about it, right? And also that the way that she's strong-armed, she's trying to obstruct audit, that's Trump-level obstruction. That's Trumpism right here inside UC Office of the President. So she has to go. Okay, she has to go, and then Donald Trump has to go. But first, Janet.
Do you think she should be investigated and prosecuted for lying and covering up, manipulating the audit?
Yes, and it will start with her resignation, okay? So she should stop obstructing justice, stop obstructing audit, have some shame, have the decency to step out.
And what do you think about Gavin Newsom and Regent Blum supporting her and saying that you give her the benefit of the doubt?
That's bullshit. No, I'm seriously, that's bullshit. She is obstructing audit. She's obstructing audit. That's the smoking gun. That's Trump level. That's Nixon stuff. That's Nixon shit, all right? So yeah, that's bullshit. There isn't a budget crisis in the UC. Okay, there isn't a budget crisis. We know that. There's a leadership crisis. There's an accountability crisis. Janet Napolitano is part of the problem. So for the solution, to solve the problem first, she has to go, okay? So this budget crisis thing is bullshit. Leadership crisis is what we have right here.
My name's Kimia, talking about our rights, standing up for our rights, especially tuition raises. I know a lot of us that are here are on loans and our parents aren't supporting us. We're completely living on ourselves, like either grants or loans. And I can only speak to myself, but I have heard a lot of my other friends who are here. They have to skip meals to pay for books. I know I've definitely done that, and it's completely unjust. So we're here to stand up for that.
Yolanda Jackson. I'm at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital. UC is claiming that they don't have any money and they want to offer everyone a 401k and get rid of our UCRP. We worked for that and we earned it and we want to keep that.
401k, how would that affect you?
that would affect us because that is a option that we have right now, a 403B. They're offering all new hires a 401k as their pension bank. That is like gambling your money at the casino.
And Napolitano and the executives, do you think they have your interests in mind?
Napolitano, it's so much to say. The slush fund that she has, if she had our best interest, that $179 million that they have, they would do something with our retirement. They wouldn't they wouldn't hike up the students' tuition. She can do a lot for her workers. She just doesn't want to. They like that lavish life. They give themselves bonuses. They have over $500,000 in salaries. You do the math.
I mean, are you concerned about privatization, corporatization of the university?
I think they're headed that way, and they're really trying. The only thing that's holding them back, this is a state-funded hospital, so there's no way they can privatize it. But UC is so finicky like that. They fine line everything. They make you dig. They hide. They lie.
So how can they move ahead with attacking the workers and the unions when they themselves are refusing to really release the information about what's going on at the university?
Oh, well, they're so smart. They want to outsource. They want to get outside contractors and pay them $10 where we still have to rely on the government for assistance. $10, we can't even feed our families. But you next to a worker who is a career worker doing the same work, but you don't want to pay them the same salary.
So you're talking about two-tier contract for workers doing the same?
That is absolutely.
How does that affect morale with workers here?
Well, for morale, it affects us because we do all the work. They're not adequately trained. They just come in, they give them all the overtime. So it kind of X's us out, you know, because they're just happy to have a job.
My name's Grace Lynn. I'm a member of the Undergraduate Workers Union, a union that just formed at UC Berkeley in the Dining Commons. I'm here to stand in solidarity with AFSCME, who are protesting this, how the Regents is secretive, how they are hiding funds. They refuse to distribute funds to people who need it. I'm a worker. I need a higher wage. I need like safe working shoes, but they don't want to give it to us because it costs too much money. Meanwhile, they have millions of dollars just stored up here, apparently. Not literally here, but like.
So you're saying that you're not even paid enough, yet there's a $175 million slush fund?
Yeah. So they're saying that we're in a budget crisis, or that they have to, be more responsible in spending. Meanwhile, they don't even pay their workers enough. I have coworkers who definitely need to be paid more. I don't even have paid sick days, and I work with food every day. Like, there are so many problems that they always say, like, oh, we just can't spend the money to fix the problem. Meanwhile, they have the money to fix the problem. They have the money to spend on their own lavish going away parties, on their travel expenses. We don't have, I'm not going to curse, but we don't have the money to survive, and they still raise the tuition on us.
So you feel basically they're betraying the real principles of free public education?
So the Regents and, of course, the president, they'll say, like, oh, we uphold academic excellence. Meanwhile, they budget, at UC Berkeley, they've been cutting the budget of a lot of language departments, for example, and humanities. And
is this corporatization, privatization of the university?
Yeah, for sure. They say that it's privatization, and some people will justify it because the politicians in Sacramento aren't giving the UC enough money. I think it's a problem on every point. So like, the politicians aren't investing in our public education, they aren't investing in the next generation, and also the UC Regents, they aren't sticking to the values of public education. They aren't building affordable housing, they aren't paying their workers enough, they aren't staying true to the idea that public education should be accessible and affordable, because it's not. It costs tens of thousands of dollars to just get ahead in life.
Well, you have Richard Blum, who's a billionaire. You have multimillionaires on the Regents. Do you think they're really interested in the concerns of the students and the workers?
Of course not. That's why we have to do this.
I'm Beezer DiMartelli with UAW 2865, the Student Workers Union at UC. And we're out here today in solidarity with AFSCME 3299 to protest the UC and specifically Janet Napolitano's hiding of $175 million while slashing budgets, taking worker pay cuts, and stuffing it in private executive coffers. And we're done. We're here for public education, and we're here to protect the commons.
What did you feel like when you found out that there was a $175 million slush fund that had been kept secret from the students, from the workers?
something about it felt like it was affirming. Like, we know that there has been money in the system for a long time. We've been hearing this narrative of poverty, but they keep raising tuitions, and we've been wondering where that money's been going, and it makes a lot of sense that it's been tucked away and hidden as we've been cutting things like class education, services for hungry students and workers.
And your union is calling for the resignation of Napolitano. You think she's going to resign?
We're out here to put as much pressure as we have. We've opposed her from day one. She is the former DHS secretary, and we've opposed her from the beginning, and we're out here to continue to add pressure, and we're really excited. We hope she resigns.
And privatization and corporatization of the university, how is that affecting the students and the staff at the University of California?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing fewer and fewer resources going into public goods. We're seeing higher executive pays, more managers hired all the time who are being paid exorbitant salaries to do God knows what, real estate development and things like that. There used to be a lot more services, even when I was here in the beginning in 2011, that we've seen cut, and it's just been at a place where we can't take it anymore.
And where do you think the labor movement should stand, the unions in California, in relationship to the university?
I think the labor movement needs to take a firm stand in support of public everything, in support of public education, K through 12, and higher education. This is a system-wide issue. I think the labor movement needs to oppose Betsy DeVos. I think the labor movement needs to build solidarity with the students out here and workers out here who are already doing the work of opposing these changes.
JT, we are here for our bargaining. For UC is not doing good to the workers and students.
And what kind of work do you do?
I do transport.
Were you shocked about this $175 million slush fund they have?
Absolutely, yes indeed.
They're saying they don't have enough money for the workers, but then they...
Yeah, they said they never have enough money. Well, but we have to keep fighting to get our right.
Your wages, as a cost of living, are you keeping up with the cost of living in California?
Oh, no. I have family. It's really hard for one income. It's really hard. And I live here in the Bay Area, even harder.
Which campus are you at?
And here in the Mission Bay.
Police, no justice, no peace. No racist police. No justice, no peace. No racist police. 99. University. Our university. Whose university? Our university. Whose university? Our university.
Concerned, I should say that we're angry about the UC Auditors report on the UC Office of the President. For years we've been raising concerns about rising costs for students in tuition and housing, UC's use of poverty wage and contract employers, and we've insisted that the UC has the money. Well, the auditor's report shows, in fact, that they do, and that UC has been lying all along. So we're here to raise our concerns about that and to insist that actually they realign their values, that UC can do better, they have to do better. They're creating communities of poverty around the UCs, and there's no excuse for that.
And privatization and outsourcing, it seems like more and more consultants, more and more outsourced workers. Do you think that that's really the policy of the University of California Regents and administration?
They would never say that it's their policy. It's absolutely their practice. We have not seen the number of service worker employees, full-time employees at UC grow, certainly not in proportion to the number of students who've grown. It's great that there are more students, but that means there's more work to do. So
that hurts the public and the students who use UC?
Absolutely. The third largest employer in the state now is hiring poverty wage jobs, and that's only bad for the economy. It's bad for the communities around UC. It's bad for those families.
And they outsourced some tech workers here at UCSF and moved it to India. I mean, what are your feelings about that? I mean, it's public workers, they need jobs here, and yet they're being outsourced?
Yeah, exactly. And UC claims to be, a real mover in the global economy, right? Well, so what kind of global economy are we talking about here? One where local economies are demolished? Apparently. Well, we insist that they can do better. It doesn't have to be that way.
And Gavin Newsom and Richard Blum have said we should give President Napolitano the benefit of the doubt about what happened. What's your feeling about that?
Honestly, that the regents refuse to see the truth. They really, they don't care. What they do care about is when we organize to force them to, care about, any amount of, God, how to put it nicely. When we're able to organize enough to create any sort of a crisis for them to actually mess with the things they do care about, that's when they care, unfortunately.
The public in California, they expect accountability, they expect transparency of a public institution. Do you think that the labor movement in California, the California AFL-CIO, should take a stand on what's happening here at UC?
I think so. In fact, we're the largest employee union at UC, but along with all the other UC unions, we're all outraged about this, and we have the support of the California Labor Federation, and it's because this is a major employer, right? And we're about not just quality jobs, that's super important, but we're also about fighting for the public, fighting for affordable, accessible, free public education, good health care, and the medical centers, the campuses should not be places of profit for very few billionaires who sit on the Board of Regents.
Are you surprised that there's no labor representative on the Board of Regents? I mean, they're business people, they're executives, they're billionaires, but no labor representative?
You said they're executives and business people and billionaires, so no, I'm not surprised they don't have a labor rep on the board. Should they? They should, absolutely. But
Dolores Huerta was the last one.
Exactly. So we have a system where the governor appoints the regents, and I think that there are a lot of changes that could be made to both preserve the necessary autonomy that's needed to keep a free and expansive.
The wealth in California, I mean, you've got 130 billionaires in California, massive wealth, Facebook, and yet you can't have free public education for these young people.
Right, and I think actually what happens at the UC is symptomatic of what we're seeing actually everywhere. We're seeing a housing crisis. Students are, paying an exorbitant amount to try to get by while they're students, but that's actually applying to everybody around California unless you're a millionaire. Our place here is that we can fight at UC. We've got to raise the fights where we can. And UC, I'm a UC employee. I know that UC can do better and can help make things better so that students and workers can afford to live, can afford where they can afford rent, they can afford food, but only if UC changes.
Starving students at UC, is it true?
4 in 10 can't afford to eat. The chant out here, 7 in 10 workers can't afford to eat. That was a study that came out about clerical workers, actually, late last year. A damning study, honestly. It's inexcusable.
Okay.
Let me introduce myself. Aba Ashini. That means hi, how are you? I'm also an indigenous student from Mexico. And it is important for me to say that, to express my indigeneity, because this university has not given the space to students of color, to indigenous and black folk. We saw how the region meetings, it was all white people. The same white people that came to displace our people, the same white people that came and built all this institution, all this education that is wire aligning. They're trying to sell us, they're trying to brainwash us, they're trying to sell us this education system that wasn't meant for us. They are creating borders with their education, and I think that it's important for us, students of color, indigenous and black students, to raise concern about how our education is being managed by white people and how they're telling us they want to prove our existence. They don't want us to use our identity. They don't want us to trace our indigenous background because they are afraid that we are going to come at them. They are afraid of our power as people who have been in this land for more than 524 years of resistance. So I'm here as an undocumented student, an indigenous student from the new Shabi Nation in Mexico, southern Mexico. And I'm here to tell the University of California, Berkeley, and the University of California that we will not step back, that we will fight until our peoples are properly being represented in the university, until we have affordable housing for low-income students, until we have representation of black and indigenous peoples in the University of California, because it's much needed. Because we don't have that culture of indigenous peoples, because they have erased, or they are trying to erase our existence as people that have walked in this land for more than 10,000 years. So I'm here with many of you. We also have Janet Napolitano was being telling that she's fighting for undocumented students. She went to Mexico City like a month ago, and she gave an interview to Vice News. You can find the interview on Vice News where she talks in Mexico City about the work that she has done, about DACA, that she talks about being helpful to undocumented students. When we know that undocumented students at the University of California cannot even afford housing, the students at the University of California do not have the basic needs. Students are still trying to make ends meet. So we are here to tell Janet Napolitano that we will not give up, that we will fight until we bring justice to our peoples. Thank you.
My name is Rafiole, and being I am a Black, queer, and undocumented student from attending UC San Diego. Struggling through UC San Diego, I should say. In title, I am the incoming Vice President-elect of External Affairs, as well as current chair of the Black Student Union. All of this is to say I've done a lot of dealing with the university bullshit on purpose for some reason. And just like Louis said, this is an institution that's very much not for us, and in my being and in my titles, I feel every day that it's not an institution that they want me to be at. It's an institution where when we go inside and we have badass people say very true things and things that are true of the university, the lies of the university, and exposing the failings of the university, we're treated dismissively, we're treated with state terror enforcers. I think it's very telling where at Regents meetings where it's supposed to be open for students to come bring their concerns, or workers are saying we have concerns, and they have like, what, 4 or 5 units of state terror enforcers? What are you scared of? What are they really afraid of? Are we going to go in there and be violent? No, it's not the violence, it's the truth that they're afraid of. So I think it's beautiful. So beautiful to see all of these folks, for workers to take a day off work, which in this economy, and for students to, most of us are still in school. It's week 7, like it's rough out here. But it's even rougher if we don't do this work. I don't know who said it, but someone in there was like, the UC works because we work, and I think that's very true. We take an institution and we make it a university, and I really appreciate all of you wonderful folks, and I look forward to continuing to struggle with you.
Elizabeth Milos. I'm a UCSF medical interpreter and a member of the University Professional and Technical Employees CWA Local 9119. I'm out of UCSF Local 7.
And you had even trouble getting into this meeting, this supposedly public meeting?
I had trouble getting in. I came at 8:33, 3 minutes late, but I had called in yesterday and I wasn't even on the list, but I demanded basically to be let in because I'm a UCSF employee and contributed to the pension fund, and I had called and I spoke with Stephanie. I was allowed in finally. They had to call upstairs. When I got up there, I was able to speak, but less than 30 seconds, I had barely one short paragraph, and luckily I was able to say at least one of the points that I wanted to make, which was that we demand union voting representation on the pension board. UC Regents, as well as the financial institutions, are not making the right decisions.
Well, who are these people that are making decisions for the UC employees?
Well, the UC Regents basically...
who are they?
The UC Regents are the millionaires and billionaires who... I don't have the information in front of me right now to give you specifics, but they are basically invested in the fossil fuel industry in many ways, as well as in the banking and banking practices of these companies. Now, one of the things I really wanted to call attention there, and I was barely able to get my point across regarding this, was the fact that it's not enough to divest from the fossil fuel companies themselves, because what these fossil fuel companies are doing is that they're playing a bait and switch game on us, okay? While these different institutions are divesting from them in particular, they're getting their money, their financing from major financial institutions that we still are invested in.
Concerns is basically the university, for one, is hiding or keeping money from us, and that's kind of upsetting. And of course we already know that, you know, it's been a long time time coming for students to fight for their rights and to see tuitions not being hiked, to see workers get paid less than they deserve. So it's really important that we're out here today just sharing what we need to know, what they need to know about us and what we want for our university, for the sustainability of our university, and for most importantly, the sustainability of our people here. So.
And they raised the tuition, and yet they had a $175 million slush fund. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it really sucks. I'm like, it makes me very emotional a lot of times thinking about it. So.
Some students are going hungry at the university.
Yeah,
I mean, do you know about that?
Yeah, some campuses have, these food pantries, but even that's not sustainable enough for students to like feed themselves. So it's really unfortunate, and to see that they're hiding money, all that money. I mean, I feel like $1,000 to each of us could go a long way for a scholarship, like that's kind of what I'm thinking. But even so, you could better manage the money the way they're using it. So.
You have billionaires on the board, Richard Blum, 130 billionaires in California. Yeah. Don't you think they should be paying for free public education in California?
That'd be great. I mean, if they could be taxed higher, I don't know what the solutions are, but we can sit down and talk about it for sure. So, yeah.
Do you think she should be investigated and possibly prosecuted, she and the executives who covered up the slush fund?
Definitely, yeah. I definitely think there's a lot of problems that probably aren't being looked at and aren't being looked at deep enough, and so there should be more of an investigation taking place as of we talking.
Are students angry about what's going on at the university?
I mean, you see right here, yeah, definitely, like people are pissed off. So, I'm just praying and hoping that we can get our point across even through these, it seems like pointless to do these protests over and over and over again, but there are solutions that are feasible to see and to see the near future. Like we can see a real accessible university for both workers and students.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
My name is Tasha.
Burgundy Fletcher. I'm from UCSD.
What are your concerns at the Regents meeting today?
So it's certainly the fact that they just tripped and found $175 million. That's a big whoops. So I'm here because they're cutting workers' wages, not doing cost of living increases. They're increasing student tuition, and we need to have a voice. They need to pay attention.
And are there any labor representatives on the Regents?
No, it's only Regents on the Regents. Funny, huh? The deck is stacked.
And do you think Napolitano can be trusted at this point, since she was involved in covering up where this money was, the slush fund?
Yeah, no. And we're finding that she's covered up other things. Her office, UCOP, is guilty of many other cover-ups aside from just the $175 million that just came to light. So I think it's time for her to graciously step down.
Should she be investigated and prosecuted for corruption?
So that's above my pay grade. I'm an undergrad about to graduate, but I mean, everyone needs to, take responsibility for their actions.
Ricardo, I'm a student at UC Santa Barbara, and we're holding Janet Napolitano accountable for the audit that just came out, and we want answers as to where the money of our tuition is going. And we're also here to advocate for workers' rights. A lot of the UC campus workers are getting their benefits and their pay cut, and to have an excess of money and it being discovered through an audit is something that we need to address right away.
Do you think there should be an investigation or prosecution of these officials who covered up the money, the slush fund?
I think we need answers. As soon as we start asking questions, depending on the kind of answers that we receive, then maybe that's a recourse that we have to take either as students or as a state to make sure that she is held accountable for where those funds are being held.
Privatization of the university, these executives bringing in corporations, are you concerned about that?
Just a little bit, because we don't know what kind of influence they have in terms of the curriculum and what they want the students to be facilitated. So that is a concern. That's why it's very important to keep the books open in terms of who's investing with the university and who the university is investing in.
Hey y'all! We heard from everybody. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Let's smash this fucking wall and